The Chicharra Poetry Slam Festival is a new national level poetry slam in Albuquerque. It features more than 70 poets from across the nation for 3 days of workshops and themed readings, elevating marginalized voices. Zach Kluckman, the festival's director, is here with us this evening to tell us more. Thank you, Zach, for coming out tonight and talking with us about this new event. I want to start by asking how this festival came to fruition. I mean, what was the process and what did you feel was missing in New Mexico that we needed this festival?
That's such a great question. Well, I'll start by telling you honestly, I think I've been carrying this idea around in my head for about 10 years now. I look at other cities and states where they have these big festivals, Dodge Poetry Festival being a good example, and they're bringing 1 million people a year through for poetry, which is phenomenal. Wow. And I keep thinking, well, why don't we have that? You know, it's Albuquerque. We have such a rich history in this state of storytelling and oral traditions and art. And so that's been simmering there for about the last decade. And I've participated in probably every national and regional poetry slam in the country at some point in some capacity. And so I've been watching, kind of thinking, all right, what, cataloging, what works really well, what could we maybe do a little differently and make it really New Mexico centric in that sense. And so I've been just brainstorming. So this was the year, and I just felt it. I felt the time was right. And so this is stage one, right? So stage one is taking it the way it is now, because Poetry Slam is such an accessible way to get into poetry for a lot of people. You know, you've got the performance, you've got a really broad, diverse group of poets and people telling their stories and speaking their truth. And so it's very easy for people to relate to. So the goal here, I think, is that we take this year, lay the foundation with the Poetry Slam, and then in a year or two, we start adding in those more traditional poets, if you will.
Yeah.
Some of those folks who are winning Pulitzers and these big literary awards, so that eventually we have poets standing side by side working together.
Oh, wow.
Because I think that, Albuquerque is such a beautiful city, and we have so many unique experiences that happen here. And I just want to remind all of us who we are as a city. And
you have 70 poets that you're looking to take part in this event.
Yes.
What is the process of how you're choosing them?
That's so much fun, actually, because what we're doing is we're sort of letting them choose themselves, right? There's a lot of cities still have active poetry slam scenes, and so they'll have a slam season where poets are competing all season, right? They go out and they earn points towards the final stage or the grand slam, and then the audience picks who the team will be that represents that community for the year. So a lot of our folks that are participating in the festival this year are those teams that have already been selected back home. And we opened the registration up and said, hey, come to New Mexico, come be part of this thing. And we have been fortunate to see poets from all over, teams from all over, as well as individuals. And we really just wanted to keep it inclusive and accessible for anybody that wanted. So, we've got legends of the Poetry Slam scene that have been 20 plus years. We've got new folks that have been slamming for the first year, standing again side by side so they can learn and grow with each other. So it's been really interesting to do it that way, to just keep it as an open registration and see who was willing to come to New Mexico and show off.
Well, I'm sure they're going to enjoy themselves that they took this challenge. So what can attendees expect over this 3-day event?
That's a lot. It's going to be really amazing. So what we're doing is we've kind of broken it up. The competition itself is bracketed, like March Madness, if you will.
Yeah.
So poets competing in the competition will compete every night. We're going to have 3 simultaneous events happening. So from 6 to 8, we'll have 3 poetry competitions happening in 3 venues. And then from 8 to 10, another 3 poetry competitions happening. And the poets that are competing will then be ranked according to how they do that night and the next night, and we add those scores up to see who goes to finals. So that's the poetry competition. But then during the day, through all of that, we also have free workshops. We have themed readings to elevate marginalized voices. So we've got our visible, invisible disabilities open mic, LGBTQ+, awesome. Indigenous poets, you name it. We've got a wide array of open mics. And all of these are things that anyone in the community can come participate in. So if there's a poet sitting at home right now and they're like, oh, I write poetry, I write haiku, come sign up for the haiku head-to-head match.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely. So events all day, lots of ways to get involved. If you live here locally, lots of ways to participate and learn with and compete with these poets. And then, of course, our final stage on March 23rd. So it's going to be a pretty sensational event.
So tell us about the final stage when
Absolutely.
everything comes to a head.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. You said it. We've got the top 4 individual poets and the top 4 teams will get a chance to compete at the final stage. So out of 70 poets, we'll take a total of, 20 poets that get to compete for that title and the trophy and about $5,000 in prizes. So it's going to be amazing. It's Highland Theater over on Central, so really beautiful space. We'll have music, and I believe that Poet Laureate Emeritus Hakeem Bellamy will share something with us. So it's going to be a really full, rich night, and of course, you get to come see who makes it all the way through the competition, right?
I just love the fact that you're talking about, starting small. I'm like, if this is small, I'm wondering what next year's going to be like. But we're dealing with this first year. So what is the date of the event?
So it's March 21st through the 23rd, with the final stage on the 23rd. And if you want to find out about it or get tickets or if you see the schedule, you can check out the website. It's www.cicadapoetryslamfestival.com. I know that's a big mouthful. But just remember Cicada Poetry. I doubt you'll find anything else with that.
Wonderful. Well, Zach, thank you very much for coming in tonight and
My
telling
pleasure.
us about the event, and we're definitely looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you there, I hope.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. I'll be there. Thank you. We'll be back.